My name is Sister Eukaria Madueke, a sister of Notre Dame de Namur, and I coordinate the African Faith and Justice Network Women Empowerment Project. This project is funded by Comrade Hilton Foundation. Today being the International Day of Prayer and Awareness Against Human Trafficking, and also the Feast of St. Josephine Bakita, patron saint of Sudan, and of those dedicated to ending human trafficking. African Faith and Justice Network invites our partner, our sisters in Uganda, Ghana, Kenya, and Nigeria to tell us how they are engaging human trafficking. Study shows that human trafficking in Africa is driven by poverty, armed conflict, instability, and some traditional practices. It is also believed that children and youth, young people, aged 12 to 16 years, are mostly the victim of human trafficking. Majority of them being trafficked to Europe, Middle East, and other Arab countries. Joining us to discuss how the sisters are engaging in ending human trafficking in Africa are Sister Gloria, Sister Uche, Sister Samarita, Sister Olivia. Am I missing any other person? So we would like to know from the sisters how they are engaging ending human trafficking. What are the challenges? What is actually happening in their countries in relation to human trafficking? So I think we would like to hear from, we begin with Sister Gloria to tell us how this sister partner in Nigeria are engaging in ending human trafficking. So Sister Gloria.
Okay, good evening everyone from Nigeria, Lagos. Okay, for some of us who don't know me, and my name is Gloria Uzloke from the Congregation of the Religious Sisters of Charity, the development officer for the congregation in the Nigerian region. And we engage and collaborate network with other well-meaning groups and with similar vision on human trafficking. And AFJN is one of the bodies we collaborate with and network with. In Nigeria, human trafficking is a big issue. Yeah, it's still a big problem. So for what we are doing is that we are very, very strategic in engaging at this moment to fight against human trafficking. The study, okay, based on study in Nigeria, those states have the highest number, but now we want to be more proactive in those states with lower numbers, because if you're not proactive, the numbers could increase. So what we are doing is to decrease this, reduce this increase, and if possible, eliminate it completely. And in areas that seem not to be having that, we also question, could it be that no one is speaking? So we continue to engage with other well-meaning groups. So I will stop here then. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Gloria. So Sister Samarita is from Uganda, and Sister has been working with AFJN in Uganda, trying to end human trafficking. So Sister, can you tell us what you are doing in Uganda?
Thank you, Sister Eukaria. My name again is Sister Samarita Mbambu. From the Congregation of Sisters of the Holy Cross. I'm in Uganda. I'm working with Uganda, that is in western part of Uganda, in Fopoto Diocese. Some of you may not be knowing, but if you go to Google, you may find it there. Our congregation in partnership with the AFJN, Africa Faith Justice Network. And being in partnership, I'm also working belong to the committee for the congregation. And that's how I came to know AFJN for me to get involved. And our congregation having a corporate stand on human trafficking. I was a new person. I was able to read about human trafficking and in help with AFJN, because our sisters had to connect me to AFJN for me to get trafficking. Due to the interest that I had, I was able to be trained by the sisters. Our headquarters, that is in Kampala. And good enough, I was able to. So from there, I picked up, I was eager to begin the ministry of creating awareness. How I go to, how I awareness on human trafficking. At first, I had a campaign on domestic violence. When I had that campaign, I had several radio programs. Then I also brought in, I found out that people didn't know about this disease. They knew that was just a normal kind of business, a normal kind of thing, just to seek jobs. You go and get employed. Your programs, I received so many calls. What is it that you're talking about? So from there, I got to one who had been trafficked. So she contacted me. Also, when I went to our local church in my home parish, I talked about it, human trafficking. So another girl came up. Here I am. What you talked about is what I went through. So from there, I got connected to two ladies. So from those two ladies, currently, now I'm journeying with the over 20 survivors here in Fopoto.
Thank you, Sister Samarita.
To cut the long story short, yes. So I've been journeying with them and several programs have been taking place. Talking to the youth and also talking to the parents of the survivors. To the survivors, also it was a need that we need to talk to their parents. So with the help of other sisters in the area, in our diocese, who have reached the, who have talked to local leaders. We have also talked to the parents, as I said, some religious who have also talked to them, have met them, and the impact that has come out of these meetings I receive calls. Sometimes they call me, they say, no, ladies, they have decided not to go. They say, no, from the testimonies that the survivors gave, for me, I feel like, no, I not dare to go outside and work from outside. At least I can. But what I also discovered from these meetings that we have been having is that survivors not only go outside, but they have also been mistreated within the country by some employees. That is what also discovered. And some of the activities that we are doing with the survivors, thank God, with the AFJN, it has helped about 5 survivors who are currently having skills in tailoring. 4, they are having skills in tailoring.
Sister Samarita, thank you so much.
Is having a skill in.
We will come, sister, we will come back to you. Thank you so much. So now, can we ask Sister Olivia from Ghana to tell us what the group in Ghana is doing to end human trafficking, and just maybe in about 2 minutes to tell us how you are working to end human trafficking.
Thank you, Sister Eukarya. Sorry, I just got into the house. I was on the way while the meeting started.
Okay.
I'm Sister Olivia Omo. I'm a sister of the Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul, and I'm a social worker by profession. I work with children in street situations, women and youth in vulnerable situations such as domestic violence, child abuse, and human trafficking. And to go direct to what the question you are addressing, what we are doing in Ghana. I am the coordinator of the network of consecrated persons against human trafficking in Ghana. That is a branch of the Talita Kum network. And of course, I consider this a privilege to be talking about human trafficking on this special day. We are doing a lot, maybe not as much as the situation calls for, but currently we are so much into awareness creation in communities and on the street with children in street situations, and on the social media. We use the social media platforms a lot. Last year we organized a panel discussion which engaged the media aggressively on this issue, and it went viral almost in Ghana. And we are networking and collaborating with different bodies, including the state agency, the anti-trafficking unit of the Ghana Police Service, and the NGOs and all other groups, individuals that are fighting this cause. I don't know if that could be for a beginning. We also are into rescue. Last year, precisely, we rescued 22 girls caught in human trafficking, and we sent them back to their countries. A number of them came from Nigeria, others came from Burkina Faso, another came from Benin Republic. This year already, this is the second year of the month, we have 2 cases that we have managed to rescue. One was just last Friday, and she's even in residence with us in our community because we have a center, a residential center for children in street situations who have no stable home to return to when they want to leave the street into developmental activities. So we keep some of these girls here until we are able to send them back to their countries. Sister, does that address it?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, because we'll come back to you. And we would like to ask Sister Teresa to tell us how she get engaged in working to end human trafficking, and what she has been doing in this area. Sister Teresa.
I guess it's Sister Teresa Anyabike you're talking about,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. My work, Sister Teresa Anyabike, a sister of Notre Dame de Namur. I work and live in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. I am the web manager of my congregation right now, but I am into communications. Before I came to know African Faith and Justice Network, I was working with the youth, young Catholic students. So I speak to them about life in general, what they could do to be better students and future leaders. And in doing that, I also talk to them about getting money from people, deceiving them. So in short, what I talk to them about is to avoid fantasies, people deceiving them that they're going to make money or take them outside the country or within the country to be maids or maid servants to one person or the other. Meanwhile, the idea is just to use them as labor traffic. So when I got to know AFJN, got into advocacy. So we went to different parts of the country, like in the southern part of the country, Edo State in particular. But in Edo State, there are different areas in Edo State that we have reached out to. And it was so overwhelming. And the turnout was so beautiful that people began to react and began to see that what we are doing is very important, to the extent that the Edo State government has to pass a law so that those who are caught in human trafficking will be dealt with. And we're so happy that it was because of AFJN Nigeria that that law was passed. And it was a very big milestone for us. So in the course of our advocacy group in Nigeria, when we're talking in one of the local governments, Ovia North precisely, one of the participants after the talk met me and said, sister, all these things you are saying is true. My siblings are there, but what do I do? So I was wondering, I said, what do you do? Is to tell them to come back home, or to live where they are. Because whatever money they give you is what I call blood money, because they sell their body, they are into hard labor just to satisfy their master or their mistresses in order to make ends meet. So that's not the best way for us to go about it. So in all this advocacy program that we're carrying out, we have really touched the lives of so many young women in particular that we're willing to leave the shores of Nigeria in order to get what we call greener pasture outside the country. I know sometimes when people tell them about how people live abroad, how people live in another country, how they make money, they feel that once they get there, they get the money, not knowing that what lies beneath it is worse than what they see. So the advocacy group in Nigeria, which is African Faith and Justice Network Nigeria, have been doing a lot to sensitize the people, especially young girls, women, and their parents. So, and they take this to heart. I know one of the achievements we have made is closing a brothel in Edo State, precisely Ujoba. So when that happened, it was like what are these women trying to do? This is where I make my money. Why do they want to close my brothel? But with the help of the king of that place, with the help of other chiefs, other stakeholders whom we involved into the advocacy group, we were able to close down the brothel, and those girls were sent back to their families. So it's a privilege for me to be part of this group discussing this, because human trafficking is not only outside the country, it's within the country too. When you pick a young girl from your village or from your town and say, oh, I'm going to take you to school, I'm going to train you, you're going to learn a trade, and the parents agrees that this is what you're going to do to my daughter or to my son, and you take the child to the city and nothing happens. The child becomes a sex worker, put the child in a hard way, child hawking here and there. So all this we're trying to talk about. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Teresa. And Sister Uche, can you describe to us what you do? Because Sister Teresa mentioned advocacy. What do you do when you come together as sisters to advocate against human trafficking? Sister Uche is calling from Kenya.
Good evening, sisters. I think it's a good day to discuss the issue like this. Without wasting time, my name is Sister Uche Onyekong, a Notre Dame sister, presently studying in Kenya. But I was very, very involved in advocacy about trafficking in Nigeria. I don't want to repeat what Teresa has said so far, but I want to talk at area of collaboration, stakeholders. That AFJN step into Edo State I was on the ground where the whole these things were happening at that point. So I was able to communicate to AFJN and sisters when we met in Abuja. So when they heard my story, they first so passionate about it. And from there, we plan a way forward, an action plan. So an action plan took them, all of us, to Edo. So when we went to Edo, we tried to sensitize people. We organized a lot of workshops in different villages and the community, meeting different chiefs and the king. So bring all our ideas together and collaboration. That's why we're able to come up to some kind of solving some of the problem there. Because when I talk about collaboration and also stakeholder, try to meet those who are involved, those who are in authority, those who can influence the situation by like meeting the king, meeting the chiefs, even the bishops. Like before I even met AFJN, I have to meet the local ordinary of the diocese. I went up to provincial to meet the archbishop. So, and even called the man involved. The brothel man I invited him for meeting. So we did not just running by hearsay, but try to confront issue with the people involved. So the man of the brothel was called for meeting, and they will table all the issues and the negative effect of the brothel in the community, how it's affecting youth and the entire community. So I have a lot to say, but with time, but what I want to say is that for advocates to continue, we should be ready to make a sacrifice, because trafficking, human trafficking, is an evil to humanity, and the people are treading on it seriously. So we who have already said we are going to fight it. first of all, we should have faith and be ready to take risk. Then involve all the people that are the right people, like human rights, the community, the church. And me also, I'm suggesting, if possible, as we are discussing this on this level, if we can have platform also that connect all the AFJN in Africa, so where we can discuss these things, so that you have platform, know what is happening in Ghana, know what is happening in Uganda or in Nigeria. Then we can also support one another by sharing our ideas or prayers. So it's very important to work together. When we work together, we achieve a lot. But if you see it and keep quiet, you alone cannot do much. Because if you left for me alone in Edo State, I don't think I will achieve much. But inviting other stakeholders helped us a lot.
Thank you so much, Sister Uche. And Sister Gladys, we are giving you 2 minutes to tell us, what do you think is effective? Because I know you have been working with the sisters in Nigeria, the group, the AFJN group in Nigeria. What do you think is effective? What has helped your the advocacy to be effective in Edo State? You muted, you're on mute.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Gladys Chikere is my name, OLA. I just happened in advocacy in Edo State, and it was like, for me, an answer to a yearning. And with what I saw there and what we did, or what the Lord did through us, it was great. Because we really got the assistance of the church. When I say the church, I mean, can you hear me?
Yes.
Because it's like my line is breaking. Okay.
No, we
when
can
I say
hear
the
you.
church, okay, when I say the church, I mean the Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Benin himself. One truth about advocacy is that the sisters who come for advocacy come from different parts of the country on public transport. And then they have had to make an arrangement on where to stay. So that was already a great help, that there was a cozy place where we could stay and who could accept money to give us some food and shelter. But without transportation to go out to where we had to go, we couldn't have been able to do anything. Without a venue accepted and then paid for in the Archdiocese, we would never have been able to achieve anything. And without the working plan of the sisters who had to go ahead of time to corroborate with the police, which was very, very important, because advocacy is a volatile action. It is an action that goes to violate a plan to destroy a fellow human. So when you come with a plan to destroy that, without a protection, security from the government, you are putting your life again at stake. So it would have been foolhardy to do that without security from the government. And if we hadn't got collaboration from the police, we would never have been successful. So these are a few of the things I can quickly lay hands on that have been very helpful in that advocacy in Benin. As I'm talking about it, I just also recall that even the arm of the government the ruling government in place at the time, both at the governorship level and at the local government level. Those were quite helpful because we met a strong block when we had to meet the market women. If we hadn't had the security and the local government chairperson who were solidly behind us, and then of course, with the soft voice that we suddenly acquired, we would never have been successful. So these are just a few of the things that I can remember. Do I still have time?
Thank you so much for listing some of the challenges you faced when we do advocacy against human trafficking, that we are putting our lives out there, but also we work with the arms of the government. So, Sister Lucy, you've not spoken to us. Lucy, can you tell us what other plans do you have in future? I know the Nigerians, the Ghana, the Uganda, I think we can now share the future plan we have. And any sister can also add from, if you want to talk more on what we are doing in these countries. But I want us now to look at what is the future plan.
Thank you, Sister Ikeria. Good evening, sisters. I'm Sister Lucy Etum, a school sister of Notre Dame, speaking from Ikotekpene in Akwa Ibom State. I'm a teacher by profession. I'm very happy to be part of this discussion because one of the future plans we had during our last advocacy and our meeting was the agreement to come to Akwa Ibom and address also this same case, the issue of trafficking, especially of young girls, taking them for domestic workers. So we are planning to hold that in July. That means, as Sister Gladys shared, we need to be making some underground work, meeting those involved, the stakeholders, talking to them and making the plans ahead before we come together again, also to form a strong AFJN group here in Akwa Ibom, that the sisters can continue with the advocacy after this group coming all over would have left. So that is basically what we are looking at now. So I'm hoping that sisters, you people will come and join because this is a very serious case here. Sometimes they are there on the news, other times we just see the things going on around us. They are not very far. They can be taken from the village to the town and so on. And sometimes they are not really taken good care of. So what can we do to influence that, or to the way it was possible for us to make the government to pass into law the anti-trafficking law in Edo? Maybe something like that can also be possible in Akwa Ibom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sister Gloria, do you have anything to add about the future plan or the successes we have made, the AFJN have made in Nigeria? Do you have anything more to add on that? Sister Gloria. Okay. If so maybe we go to Ghana and hear Sister Olivia's plan for the future. Oh, Sister Gloria is here now. Yeah.
I'm here. Yeah.
Did you hear my question? Yeah.
Yes, I did. I did.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
So, yes, what I'll quickly add to is the learning, using a survival approach, learning from the people who have survived the evil of human trafficking, because they have a lot to teach us. And education is the key. Going back to Benin, Yes, human trafficking and child abuse, they go together. AFJN also dealt and worked extensively on the areas of child safeguarding. Various skills got training. The teachers, the principal, the stakeholders were engaged with, the governor, the wife, although we didn't meet them, but then the proper group that ought to be involved were informed. And having done that, it also gave a kind of fact, statistics, and not just engaging with the sectors like education ministry based on a fiction. Homework we are done, we got the information we needed based on the situation of education system in the state before engaging with the other ministries, which was of a great help for us and for everyone who participated. Moving forward now, outside Edo State, I think one good thing AFJN is also trying to do is to be interested in other states, because too much concentration will be given to those states that will lose sight to other places, because these people are very smart. They study the environment, and that is why I'm also inviting us within our plan to be step ahead, if not more than a step ahead. And how can we do that? By studying the environment. What are these people doing, especially at this time of COVID? This is happening. In rural areas, this is bad. Not just sex trafficking, even the areas of child labor. Like here in Lagos State, the issues of maid. Unfortunately, we were supposed to be in Abakaliki one time, it didn't work. But we need to be there at some point. So in the action plan, we need to spread deliberately in other states to give our impact. And secondly, advocacy is very fundamental. But then using that non-judgmental approach to engaging, we help people to be open to trust us. And that has been my experience in training, organizing workshops. After people want to meet one-on-one, people want to say, oh, but I didn't know. Another one too is for us to have a card. There is one we used recently here around Lagos, we call it red card. And then we state all that is needed to be known in that. Make it informative, help the people to understand it. And if there are language barriers, we ensure that as we go to prepare beforehand, we get a good interpreter or someone who can also speak in Pidgin English, so that we don't just talk up there, use big grammar, and at the end of the day, nobody is able to grasp the information we have given. So that grassroots approach will continue to be the key for us. Yes,
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we move to Ghana and we ask Sister Olivia to tell us what the plan for the future. Only you're on mute.
I didn't realize that I've muted myself. Yes.
No.
Thank you very much, Sister Eucharia, and thanks to all the sisters who have spoken. I've seen a number of my friends there, and it's making me also excited about this meeting. Gladys, you're there, quite an age, Uche, and Lucy, all of you. I want to quickly say before I go to my points that I'm a proud product of AFJN, if you don't mind. And with the training from AFJN, I have led lots of advocacies here in Ghana, even though the AFJN group doesn't seem to be as active as you would expect, but I tell you that I am representing you very well over here. Our plans, we have about 6 strategic plans that we've drawn up with. Incidentally, this weekend that just passed, we met to draw up a strategic plan for the next 3 years on how to combat human trafficking in our midst. And one is advocacy. We feel that we have to intensify advocacy to get government, church, and all stakeholders engaged and involved in this combat, because as you all know, this is, we call it a monster, and it's not something that we can fight with weak hands. Second is to train youth leaders in the different communities, in the church and in the local communities. We believe that youth leaders, if we train them to, kind of equip them well on about human trafficking and the realities around it, they would be able to also carry on this formation and inform others who easily fall victims, and it will reduce the cases we have in the communities. Then forming and building strong networks. Already there are some networks, sometimes not strong enough, when we want to engage more in forming and building very strong networks and collaborations. As someone or some of you have mentioned, we really need to work together against this, because we know that human trafficking is thriving because there is a strong network of mafia that is pushing this, and they are so strong that they need an equally strong network to demolish it or to confront it. And the next one is that we plan to run series of virtual conferences, especially now that we are going virtual a lot, because traveling is limited now, and also it reduces the cost, so that we could run virtual conferences that can inform more people, educate more people, sensitize more people. Not that people don't know, but sometimes people need to be sensitized to rise up. One of the conferences we had recently, Father Nedi there was a presenter, a panelist, and people are still commenting about it. And then we continue to rescue the girls, the victims, when we come by them, because all the time you get information, you get a cry coming from somewhere and all of that. And then we are, on a long term, we are planning to build a shelter where we can have these victims, or these survivors is a better word, but survivors, when they are rescued, because sometimes they are not ready to go home. They can't just go home because someone has left home and traveled abroad, and then you have been damaged and brutalized, and you can't just go back home like that. So often when we meet them, currently we have one, as I said, around, when we meet, or two, when we meet them, they need time, and we need a home, even if you call it a transit shelter. Okay. Sister, these are our plans.
Thank you so much. So thank you for sharing your push-up plan, because I think, we hold each and every one of these plans in our hands and in our heart. So now can we hear from the Ugandan Sister Samarita and Sister Esperanza? Can you tell us what your plan is for the future?
Yes.
Just, brief.
Thank you, sister.
Good.
Yeah. So our future plan, we have a number of things to do. And these things, we just outlined them depending to the challenges that we have been meeting in the field. So one of them, we decided to meet the government leaders, especially at the borders. So we realized that a big number of cases for human trafficking, they occur from the borders. So we are planning to meet the leaders. Then another thing, we are planning also to meet the parents, especially the parents for the victims. We struggled with some of the victims. The parents could deny their children to show up. And we realized that maybe the victim was tortured spiritually and physically, but the parents could not cooperate and they could hide their children. Then another thing, we are planning also to meet the youth leaders. So we realize, however much we are making radio talks, we are organizing workshops, but other vulnerable young people are not still getting the chance to hear this voice. So we are planning to meet the leaders so that they can also become bearers to these victims. They become also a voice to the voiceless, to our vulnerable young people. And another thing, we feel the workshops and conferences that we are doing, it's a good thing and it leaves a big impact. We find that during these workshops, this is the time when we mobilize some victims and they talk to the people present and they act as an evidence. You know, sometimes people believe when they see and hear from the real victim. So it has been a powerful thing to hear from the real victim and tell them whatever they go through. And you find somebody even testifying that, oh my goodness, I have been also planning and look for the way to go and work abroad. But after that, during the workshop, we train them how to manage the little resources they have and use the gifts they have and work in their own environment as long as they are at peace. So those are the main important things we are planning for. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Is there any other person that have anything to say? It has been so wonderful sharing across countries what we are doing and our challenges and our successes. So, Sister Teresa and Ikwata, do you have something to say? Yeah, she's trying to come in. Any final word from any sister before we end this session? Thank you, Gloria.
Yes. Is Uche?
Oh, Uche, go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank AFJN for good work they are doing. Like what I mentioned before, if not without AFJN and the sisters who dedicated, we have not done what we did in Nigeria. Then my word is that for me, we already come out for this fight. I'm encouraging each and every one of us to remain steadfast, because sometimes you might be discouraged, especially when things are not getting on well. So it's a battle we have stepped in. We'll continue to fight it. So it needs us to give our time. Also, we must have faith. If you don't have faith, you can't back into this. It's faith that will sustain us. It's also one need to make sacrifices. So what I'm saying for me about advocacy, especially for trafficking and the abusing of children, if you are in school, anywhere you are, find yourself, you continue to talk about it. Like if you have Sunday school, talk about it there. If you are in school system, you're a teacher, make use of that opportunity. If you are meeting CWO or CMO, anywhere you find yourself, even in families, let us continue to talk about this issue because it's serious. Apart from trafficking, many people have mentioned it, abuse, especially since this COVID, it has been at very, very high. So we use opportunity to address the issue anywhere we have opportunity then. And when we see that it's not something we can do alone, we involve others, collaboration, and invite the people that are appropriate to help us to get what we are seeking or what we are looking for. Thank you, everybody who has spoken. It was nice seeing your faces and hearing your voice. Yes, especially Sister Olivia and Chikere, you know. So don't worry, very soon I'll be back.
Okay, thank you so much. Any person want to have a last say? Just one minute.
I do.
Good.
Gladys.
Gladys, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just to join the voices there to say good evening, Olivia. So many years have passed, and we have found ourselves here. Thanks be to God. And I'm seeing also the last sister that spoke, Sister Uche, who was very, very instrumental to the moves and the achievements in Edo State concerning that brutal issue. As she has rightly said, I just want to add an addendum. I think we should exert AFJN in our attitudes wherever we are. Walking along the streets, our eyes should be open because you might see that there are issues even along the streets. And since we know the signs to intervene with diplomacy and wisdom, you know. And of course, wherever we are, apart from the streets, wherever we are, the signs are always there. Let's be open and quick. And we were discussing the last time, this lifeline or hotline thing is very, very important. Being at a program today where we have NAPTIP and the Bakita group of sisters handling this issue of human trafficking in Lagos today, it was an eye-opener. You know, these people are already open, even with the Justice and Peace Development of branch of Lagos Archdiocese. They are all open. They have lines that you could quickly reach out to in a case of dictating that something is happening somewhere. So you quickly make a call and somebody makes a call and it brings in the police or it brings in NAPTIP officials. So if we could have the same thing in different places, and of course being linked with the police is also very essential. So that's just what I would say. And thank you so very much, Kira, for organizing this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
To meet on this day that has been declared International Day for people trafficked or for the trafficking of persons. It's very good. The Feast of St. Bakita. It's very good. So it keeps our work and our aspirations alive and in conjunction with the spirit of Bakita herself, who suffered great abuses, having been sold several times before she finally became a religious and rose from slavery to sainthood. So the Lord too would do the same through us when we save these people and they accept and they move on. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Sister Gloria, Sister Olivia, do you have a final say? Just 1 minute so that we move on. And Lucy, okay? Lucy. 1 minute.
Yes.
Only,
Okay.
okay.
I'm usually brief in my own discussion. Thank you, sisters, for your contribution. I'm so enriched. And just to add one more thing, that as we are doing this in some areas, others are already doing it. It's good for us to collaborate, not just to really emphasize that we are AFJN to stand alone. For example, when you come here to Akwa Ibom, we have some other groups which it would be nice for us to collaborate with them because we are on the same mission. The same mission. So the mission is the mission of God. It's not for ourselves. So since we are doing the same good work, there is no harm in joining force with others who are doing the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Sister Gloria.
I want to say thank you to each and every one of us here. And I also want to say thank you to Sister Juliet.
Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me?
Because Sister Juliet was very, very active in the area of Lego matters. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing her here. So we'll keep her in our prayers. And Sister Etin has mentioned something. For AFJN, we really need to grow in terms of expanding our collaboration abilities and networking. The important thing is that the key questions we ask should be, what is the mission? What is the vision? Do we share similar interests? This we need to understand, because the issue of human trafficking is very, very broad. Right? And congregations also have this as their with emerging issues, so that we engage. Even also the major superiors, we also thank them for also releasing their sisters to participate in these activities. It's very, very important. We cannot exist alone, and nobody can deal with issues of human trafficking alone. So we will have to deliberately collaborate, and in collaborating, we embrace. If we stay in our own little cocoon, it will rather chase people away from participating with us, or we might think we are doing okay. But we need to continue to engage, continue to collaborate, and continue to network so that we continue to learn more ways to deal with this evil with us. But especially each and every one of us who have been able to make it today. I am so, so much grateful. And I'm so happy to see your faces. And may God bless us all. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. And I think the last word from Olivia and Esperanza. Okay? Sister Olivia?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a quick one. You know, as we talk about these issues, we can't leave out collaboration between the state and the church. And I'm happy to hear the narrative from Nigeria, how you beautifully collaborated with the government agencies in those advocacy exercises. And I want to encourage us to try to do more about that, around that, because there are some issues we cannot really address, you know, and really handle them to make a remarkable change without the government. The government have the mandate, you know, to change certain things. We have the goodwill, and we have sometimes we are ready to put in the resources, but the government has the mandate. So, and I think it takes us to recognize the place and the role of each stakeholder, if I can put us like that, the government and the church, to recognize that the church has a role to play in all of these issues, not just human trafficking, because AFJN, as I understand, is not only about human trafficking, it's about advocacy on any social issues that render human beings you know, in a state, dehumanizes human beings, you know. So all of these issues, to address them and really make changes that we want to see, we need to work with the government. Sometimes the church, we think that we can do everything. We really can't, because the government holds the key. The legal powers rest with the government. So whatever way you can intensify those advocacies that will bring government on board to work with us, we need to mobilize such forces in order to succeed and really make changes. Otherwise, we'll just be wasting resources or going around the same thing, years and years unending. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense to anybody.
It does. Thank you so much. And sister from Uganda, Sister Esperanza.
Yeah, thank you, sister. Mine I would like to end with, I think in this ministry, we are called to pray for the people involved in human trafficking. For my experience here, you find that some of the leaders, they connect these young people to the outside world. And you find that maybe somebody has left after selling maybe goats, maybe a property at home that has been helping the family. And when he goes there and finds that the work that was promised to her or him, it's not the one. And when he finds some challenges where he went and tries to connect back to the leaders that they connected him or her, they cannot help. And another thing, I feel we still need to work together with them, the government leaders, cooperate with them, especially to find a way how they can access some technical trainings, especially when they return home. You find that somebody has returned with a lot of torture, but finds himself or herself idle and asks you, like, yes, sister, I was there suffering, but maybe the little man I was getting, well, though sometimes it is not useful, but you know, I was feeling it was doing something, but now I'm here doing nothing and I feel to go back again. So you're like, okay, so there is a need, we need to pray and we need to act to sustain the victims, even those who are not victims, so that they should not yearn to go and test or to go and see what is happening there. So that is my word.
Thank you so much, sisters. We have really had a fruitful discussion, and the work continues. And we are not going to lose hope. Rather, we are now going to be more energized to continue. And as today is the day to pray, we know that some of our brothers and sisters are trapped. They are still trapped. So we continue to pray for them. And we pray for ourselves who are engaging in this work, and for those who are trapped, asking the intercession of St. Josephine Bakita. And I'm going to ask Sister Semerita to lead us in the prayer. So we can all say the prayer, but we just want to hear one person's voice. So the prayer is on the screen. Can you see the prayer? So, can you lead us? Yes.
Prayer to end human trafficking. Saint Josephine Bakita, as a child and endured untold hardship and suffering, was liberated from your physical enslavement, you formed Christ and his church. O Saint Bakita, assist all those who are trapped in a state of slavery. Intercede with God, released from their chains of captivity, whom people enslaved. Let God set free. Provide comfort to survivors of slavery and let hope and faith. Help all survivors find healing from their wounds. We ask for your prayers and intercessions from those enslaved among us. Amen.
Now we ask Father, our new executive director, Father Nelson, to give us his blessing before we leave. So, Father.
And before I say the last blessing, I want to say thank you to everyone for your great work, for your dedication, and especially the courage that you have. You know, it's very risky. So I encourage you once more to go on and making the great efforts as you're making. Jesus always had the same, even when he needed to heal a sick, there were always opponents. So aware of this, we take courage from the Lord himself. So we ask for God's blessing on every one of you in our countries, different countries, and especially in Africa, all of Africa. The Lord be with you.
And with
May God Almighty bless you, keep you, and make you happy in your job in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, sisters.
Thank you so much again, sisters. We continue.